Hello there my lovely jewelry makers, I'm Christina of CSLdesigns and today's video is going to be another laser one because Acmer reached out to me and asked if I wanted to try their machine, and of course I said yes. So today I'm going to be trying the Acmer P2 33-watt laser engraver and cutter machine, and I'm really excited about the things we're going to end up doing with it and I can't wait to show you. Now, like usual when I try out a new laser, I like to do both cutting and engraving just to see the capabilities of the machine, and for this one we're mainly focused on the cutting, and that's what I'm really excited about showing you as well, what we came up with. But we did also just do some engraving, so let's just start having a look at that. So if you watched one of my videos from a little while ago, you might have seen that I got some stainless steel blanks in the shape of puzzle pieces, and they were really nice quality and I've really been wanting to use them. And what's handy is that they actually come in a pair, so you have two separate pieces that are slightly different shapes and they actually fit together. So what I thought of doing was engraving an N on one side and a G on the other, and that stands for Newt and Gizmo, our two babies. And because it then came in a pair that perfectly fit together, I felt my husband could then have one on his car keys and I could have the other one and I would have it on a necklace. And this is how they ended up looking. So the machine engraved really nicely on these, and they're also lovely and shiny. And the other side looks like this, so we have the G on the other side, and it's lovely detailed there with the engraving. And actually the engraving speed can be as high as 30,000 millimeters a minute, and then as you can see they fit together perfectly. So we then have the whole family. So I really like these. So now that these are complete, I'm going to then obviously give that to my husband, and then I'm definitely going to be wearing this necklace myself. It's probably going to become one of my favorite pieces that I've made, again because obviously it has a special meaning to me. But anyway, that was just a little bit of engraving that we did. I'm really pleased with how they turned out, and it doesn't surprise me that the machine did a good job as well. Now this machine also has industrial guide rails ensuring stable operation and high precision engraving. Now from the engraving we jumped straight onto doing some cutting because I knew what I wanted to do and I was really excited about trying to get this to work in reality and not just my head. And I'm also really excited to share it with you, and I hope you like them as much as I do. So what I basically wanted to do was some 3D scenes and then make it into jewelry, but just made from cutting multiple layers of wood with different designs on them and then kind of creating this 3D scene. So first of all, I decided I wanted them all oval, so I just made an oval shape, and then from there I started designing them. Now I started doing this in Procreate, and then once I was happy with all the designs, I moved them over to Photoshop where I kind of cleaned everything up and then made them into the final files as well that we can then send to the machine and then have that start cutting everything out. And usually when we're trying out new machines, and also for that matter just using different materials, I like to do a material test, but this machine actually came with setting recommendations in the instructions, and I've only seen that one time previously, and it's a really good thing, and I wish all of them would do it because it really is a good place to start. Even if the settings aren't going to end up being the exact ones you use, it's a good place to be able to work off of, and then you can just adjust it a bit, but you have a nice base to start from. So we were using 2mm plywood because I knew I was going to do multiple layers on these pieces and I didn't want it to get too thick. But then we looked up the setting recommendations for that in the instructions and we put that into Lightburn and obviously told the machine what to do, and honestly it worked perfectly from the beginning. So I've really enjoyed when everything just kind of works straight away, and this did partly because of those setting recommendations. So that is a really big plus, and like I said, I wish they would all do that. Now on top of that, this machine also comes with integrated air assist, which is another thing I just wish all lasers would do, because if you want to do any form of cutting, you really need to have air assist because it makes a huge difference to the final result of your pieces. The whole point is you just get a lot less burning and singeing as opposed to not using air assist. And it's obviously a lot easier if the machine just comes with it instead of having to get it separately. Now I do also just want to mention another thing I like with this machine is if you look on the website and go to buy it, you can actually see you can choose different versions. Now when you saw it being unpacked, you probably noticed that it was pretty much pre-assembled. You just kind of have to attach the laser head to the actual frame. And on the website you can actually choose whether you get it pre-assembled or if you want to build it yourself, which is also the first time I've seen that. Usually you'll either get it sent and you have to build it yourself, or some ship them pre-assembled. And especially in the beginning when we were just starting out with lasers, the first few lasers we got we had to assemble ourselves, and because obviously everything is new and you're still learning, I was very intimidated and worried you were going to do something wrong. Now of course you get better with time and experience, but especially if you're a beginner, having a pre-assembled machine is really helpful, and you can also kind of just get straight into actually using it instead of spending a lot of time in building it. So that's actually a feature I quite appreciate as well. Now to talk a bit about the designs I ended up making, the first one I came up with was the mountain range one. I just wanted to kind of try and make something that was pretty simple but at the same time could have quite an impact. So you can see each level is basically a different height of the mountains, and then I've also then painted them in different colours to obviously make them stand out from each other. And as soon as we cut all the layers out for this, before even painting it or anything, I put them together and I was just thinking it was so cute. I was really pleased with how it was coming out. Next I then made the birds. I knew I wanted them to be the centre in the foreground and kind of just having silhouettes of the birds, but obviously you can still tell that they're birds. And then I kind of just wanted to have some foliage behind them, just to make it seem like they're out in nature, and they're sitting on a branch as well. And this one I ended up having 3 layers on as opposed to 4 with the mountain range one. And once we cut this out, I was a little bit unsure about it at first because I almost felt it was a bit too busy with the leaves in the background, but that was obviously before painting or anything. So I kind of waited, was patient, and see how it's going to turn out when I painted that as well. And lastly, I made a Copenhagen one. So I already had the idea that it'd be cool to make these scenes and kind of represent different cities. So obviously I made a Copenhagen one. It could be for London, Paris, or anything else. And you just pick out certain landmarks and tourist attractions and then put that into the scene. And then that basically represents the city and it will be recognizable. And also as I was making this, I was getting a little bit unsure of how it was going to work because I felt there was a lot going on. And I also knew this was going to need a lot more painting and different colors. So I was worried that would also maybe turn out to be a bit too busy, but actually once I ended up finishing all of them and all the painting and everything and putting them together, I ended up really liking all of them. And that's why I think sometimes it just shows you just got to have a little bit of patience and just kind of trust the process. So to get back to the machine, it handled cutting out all these pieces really well, and also all the very fine detail, which obviously helped with using the air assist as well. Now this was of course only 2mm thick plywood that I was cutting, but because this is 33 watts, it can actually cut up to 30mm thick wood, so it's got quite a lot of power behind it. But once the machine was done cutting them all out, I then had to start painting everything, and that did take a while because obviously there's quite a few here and each one has several layers, and also there's quite a few colours in some of them. But I got through all the painting and then I had to start putting them together. So I used a wood glue to glue the layers together bit by bit, which is where it of course really started coming together. And we did also end up making them in different sizes. So there's a smaller size that's 40mm wide, and those I've also turned into earrings. So there's a couple sets of earrings. For instance, you can have Copenhagen on either ear, a mountain range on either ear, or of course the birds on either ear. And then we also made some bigger ones because I did want to see the difference, what the laser would be like cutting out the smaller and the larger ones. Obviously the smaller being more detailed, but it handled both really well, so there was nothing really to compare there. And the bigger ones are turned into necklaces. Now of course these don't just have to be jewelry, they also would make great decorations, and I've also got plenty of other ideas that I want to do for designs. And Christmas will be coming up soon, so some Christmas themed ones will be perfect and really lovely on the Christmas tree or just to hang anywhere you want to. So watch this space because I'm probably going to do more of that. Now just to mention, if you like the pieces that I showed you in this video here, they are for sale in my shop as finished earrings and necklaces. Like I said, I'm really pleased with how they all came out, so if you like any of them, feel free to have a look. Link will be in the description box down below. And also I really enjoyed the process of making this and thought along the way this would actually be a great activity you can either do by yourself or maybe do together with someone else. So what we've actually done is cut out a bunch of these and made them into little kits where you can then basically paint them yourself and put them together and create your own little pieces of jewelry or decoration, whatever you want to use them for. So just to let you know, if that's something you'd be interested in yourself, I'll be selling them in my shop and you can find the link in the description box down below, and it's at a really reasonable price as well. So yeah, these necklaces and earrings is what I was really excited about showing you, and I really hope you like them too. And just to finish off with the laser, it did a great job at everything I expected it to. And like I mentioned throughout, it also has a few features that I think are really great, especially if you're a beginner. Like I mentioned, the material recommendations in the instructions, that is really brilliant. Of course, the integrated air assist, and then also the fact you can buy it pre-built or not. Now as a little bonus, ACMER is actually running a competition that anyone can join, and you don't even need to have a laser already, but you could win $3,000 cash award and more. Why not check that out? Of course, there'll be links to it in the description box down below along with everything else. Otherwise, I really hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.